Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking something felt off? You couldn't explain it. Their words sounded perfect. Their story made sense, but your brain kept whispering, I don't fully believe them. Then later, you find out they were lying. And suddenly every little detail starts making sense. The awkward pause, the strange smile, the way they answered a question you never even asked. Here's the surprising part. Most lies aren't exposed because someone catches a tiny facial expression. They're exposed because our brains notice patterns long before we're able to explain them. And today, I'm going to show you the psychology behind the signals people accidentally reveal when they're not telling the truth. Not so you become suspicious of everyone, but so you stop ignoring your own instincts. We've all been fooled. Let's be honest, almost everyone thinks they're good at spotting liars. Until someone lies directly to their face. Maybe your friend says, I totally wasn't talking about you. Your coworker promises, I'll send it tonight. Or someone texts, sorry, I just fell asleep. At 4 p.m. Sure, a 4-hour nap. Very believable. I've believed excuses so ridiculous, I'm surprised I didn't clap afterward. The truth is, most lies don't fail because they're poorly told. They fail because human behavior becomes slightly inconsistent, and our brain notices inconsistency faster than facts. That's because your brain is constantly asking one question. Does this person's behavior match their story? Not, do their words sound convincing? And that's a huge difference. So let's start with the biggest mistake people make.
Mistake number 1, looking for one magic sign. Movies have completely ruined this. Someone scratches their nose, looks left, touches their neck. Boom! They're lying. Real life doesn't work like that. There is no universal liar face. Some honest people avoid eye contact because they're anxious. Some liars stare directly into your soul, like they're auditioning for an honesty competition. One behavior means almost nothing. Psychologists look for clusters, several unusual behaviors appearing together. Think of it like rain. One dark cloud means nothing. Thunder, strong wind, heavy clouds. Now you're probably grabbing an umbrella. The same applies to people. One nervous habit? Ignore it. 5 strange changes all happening together? Now your curiosity should wake up. So instead of asking, did they look away? Ask, did several things suddenly change? That's a much better question.
Mistake number 2, they answer the wrong question. Here's something liars accidentally do all the time. You ask one thing. They answer something else. Imagine asking, where were you last night? And they reply, why would I ever lie to you? Notice something? They never answered. Because lying often creates one immediate goal. Escape. Not clarity. Their brain starts searching for the safest exit instead of the simplest answer. Sometimes they'll even give you way too much information. Well, first I got coffee, then I checked my emails, then my cousin called, then traffic was terrible, then... You didn't ask for a documentary. You asked where they were. Truth usually arrives directly. Lies often take the scenic route. Next time someone avoids the actual question, don't rush to accuse them. Simply ask again. Calmly. People telling the truth usually become clearer. People inventing stories often become more complicated. Mistake number 3, the story keeps changing. Memory isn't perfect. Everyone forgets details. That's normal. But there's a difference between forgetting and rewriting. Have you ever noticed someone tell the same story twice, and somehow every version feels like the director released a new edition? First, they arrived at 7. Later, it becomes 8. Then suddenly, they weren't even there. When people tell the truth, small details may fade, but the core stays stable. When people create stories, they're trying to remember what they invented, and invented memories require maintenance. That's mentally exhausting. A simple shift you can use: don't focus on tiny details. Focus on whether the main story stays consistent over time. Consistency is much harder to fake than confidence. Mistake number 4, their emotions don't match their words. This one is fascinating. Imagine someone says, I'm so sorry, but they smile the entire time. Or they say, "I'm really excited," with the enthusiasm of someone reading a microwave manual. Words and emotions should normally travel together. When they don't, our brain notices it. Psychologists call this emotional mismatch. Your brain doesn't consciously calculate it. It simply feels strange. That's why you sometimes think, "I don't know why, but something feels weird." Because your brain noticed the mismatch before you did. Here's something you can practice. Stop listening only to what people say. Watch how they say it. Does their face, voice, timing, and body language support the message? Or are they arguing with each other?
Mistake number 5. They become weirdly defensive. Here's one of the biggest giveaways. You ask a calm question, they respond like you accuse them of stealing the moon. Wow, so you don't trust me? Why are you always questioning me? I can't believe you'd even ask. Notice what happened? The conversation suddenly became about your question instead of their answer. Sometimes innocent people get defensive too, especially if they feel falsely accused, but chronic liars often use emotion as a distraction. If they can make you feel guilty, you'll stop asking questions. It's surprisingly effective. Most people hate conflict, so they apologize, even though they weren't the ones hiding something. A better response? Stay calm. Repeat the original question. Don't argue. Don't defend yourself. Just return to the topic. Truth usually survives simple questions. Lies often don't. The biggest lie detector you already have. Now here's the part most people overlook. The best lie detector isn't someone's body language. It's your own discomfort. Have you ever ignored that quiet feeling because you didn't want to seem rude? You told yourself, "I'm probably overthinking." Maybe, but maybe not. Your brain processes thousands of tiny signals you don't consciously notice. Tone, timing, expressions, consistency, tiny pauses. They're all being analyzed automatically. That strange feeling isn't proof someone is lying, but it's a signal worth paying attention to. Curiosity is smarter than certainty. Instead of immediately deciding they're lying, try thinking something doesn't add up yet. That mindset keeps you observant without becoming paranoid.
The secret truly honest people share. Here's something interesting. Honest people don't spend much energy trying to look honest. They simply focus on telling the truth. Liars often focus on appearing believable. That's a completely different goal. One person is remembering reality. The other is managing an impression. And managing an impression requires constant mental effort. That's why little cracks eventually appear. Not because people are bad liars, because the human brain has limits. You can fake confidence. You can fake eye contact. You can rehearse a story. But it's much harder to fake consistency.
Maybe the goal isn't to become someone who catches every lie, because that's impossible. Even experts get fooled. Maybe the real goal is learning to trust your observations without rushing to conclusions. You don't need to become suspicious of everyone. You just need to stop dismissing yourself every time something feels off. If you've ever blamed yourself for missing the obvious or felt silly for trusting the wrong person, you're not alone. Every human has believed a convincing lie. That's not weakness. It's simply the cost of believing the good in people. But now, you know what to watch for. Not one magical sign. Not one facial expression. Patterns. Consistency. Emotion. And the quiet voice in your own mind that notices more than you realize.
If this psychology story helped you see people a little differently and maybe understand yourself a little better, subscribe to Psychology at 3 a.m. Every week, we explore the strange little habits, hidden emotions, and everyday psychology that quietly shape our lives. Until next time, stay curious, and don't ignore the little things your brain is already trying to tell you.